A chair crashed against the tiled floor of Shoreline Ember Café, skidding past Amira Jo's legs as she spun around, heart hammering. The evening rush had ended, leaving the café quiet except for the hum of the fridge and the faint city noise slipping through the cracked window. She wasn't expecting trouble. But trouble walked in anyway, tall, silent, wrapped in a black coat that absorbed the dim light. Draven Mirell didn't enter rooms. He invaded them. His men fanned out behind him like shadows waiting for orders, their boots heavy, their faces emotionless. The air thickened. Everyone inside froze. Amira straightened, wiping her hands on her apron, cursing under her breath. She didn't have the patience for anyone's theatrics tonight, much less a man whose face appeared in crime bulletins more often than weather reports. He walked right up to the counter, his eyes as cold as winter steel. "Food," he said. Just that. One word. As if she owed him a feast for existing. Amira blinked. "Menu is on the board. You can read, right?" A ripple of shock moved through his men. Draven's expression didn't shift, but something in his eyes flickered, amusement or danger, she couldn't tell. He picked a random dish without looking. She cooked it quickly, keeping her back straight, refusing to show even a tremor. When she placed the bowl in front of him, he didn't sit. He didn't even taste it. He lifted the ceramic bowl slowly and let it fall. It shattered on the floor, loud enough to stab into Amira's bones. His men watched her, waiting for her to fold, to apologize, to shrink away. She didn't. "You're paying for that," she said sharply. The room fell silent. One of his men actually choked on air. Draven tilted his head a fraction. "I don't pay for disrespect. And I don't tolerate idiots breaking my things," she snapped back. "You want to act like you own the streets? Fine. But you don't own my café." His eyes narrowed, and for a second, she saw the monster everyone whispered about. But it vanished as quickly as it came, replaced by a chilling, unreadable calm. "You're brave," he said quietly. "Or stupid." She leaned forward. "Try me." He didn't reply. He simply turned around and walked out, his coat swaying like a shadow fading into deeper darkness. But before he reached the door, he paused, speaking without looking back. "I'll remember this. Amira Jo." The moment he left, the café exhaled. Chairs creaked. A spoon clattered somewhere. Her remaining customers rushed for the exit like prey fleeing a predator's scent. Her best friend and barista, Mina, grabbed her arm. "Amira, oh my God. What were you thinking?" "That was Draven Mirell." "Yeah," Amira said, sweeping the shards from the floor. "And he still owes me for a bowl." But as she spoke, her stomach knotted. She knew who he was. Everyone did. Harbourgate's most feared syndicate leader, ruler of the underground, man whose name carried weight heavier than the ocean. And yet, she didn't care. She wasn't raised to bow. Not to anyone. The real consequences came at dawn. She arrived at the café to find the supply truck gone. No deliveries. No bread, no vegetables, no meat. She called suppliers. Every single one suddenly had unforeseen complications. All of them. On the same day. "Are you kidding me?" Amira whispered, slamming the last call to voicemail. By noon, her chef quit. "I'm sorry, Amira. I can't do this. Working for you, it's dangerous now." By evening, someone smashed her front window, leaving a shard-covered welcome mat. By night, her café looked abandoned, empty of customers, empty of staff, but full of tension waiting to break her. She sat behind the counter, staring at the broken glass outside, whispering to herself. "He's not going to push me out." But a part of her trembled, not from fear, but from rage. Harbourgate streets darkened as the sky turned navy blue. As Amira locked up and turned to leave, she felt it, the prickling sensation of eyes watching her. The street corner was empty, but a car with tinted windows sat too still, too quiet. She swallowed hard and walked faster. The next night, a tall figure stood across the street from her café, unmoving. Another night, two men leaned against the lamppost near her apartment. Not attacking. Not speaking. Just watching. Like hunters observing prey. Or an audience studying a performer. On the fifth night, the bell above her café door jingled again. She looked up, expecting a customer, maybe even a thief. But it was him. Draven walked in alone this time, hands in pockets, no guards trailing behind. His presence filled the room like a storm waiting to break. "You're persistent," Amira said, not hiding the irritation in her voice. He approached the counter, each step slow and deliberate. "I came to see if the fire in you burned out." "It hasn't," she said firmly. "And it won't." He took a seat, something she didn't expect. His demeanor was different tonight. Quieter. More observant. His eyes scanned her face as though memorizing every flicker of emotion. "You run this place alone now," he said. "Because someone scared away my staff," she shot back. He ignored the accusation. "Most people bend the moment I apply pressure." "Well, here's your surprise of the year. I don't bend." His lips twitched slightly, almost like a ghost of a smirk. "That's what fascinates me." "Don't use that word like it means something," she said, crossing her arms. "You torched my business. And yet you're still open. That's called survival. It's called stubbornness." She stepped closer, eyes sharp. "Why are you really here?" Draven looked at her for a long moment, the silence stretching, deepening, tightening. Then he murmured, "Because you didn't fear me. And I want to understand why." She froze. He leaned slightly forward. "Fear keeps people alive. But you walk through danger like it's air. And you stalk me like I'm entertainment." "Not entertainment," he said softly. "A puzzle." Amira felt heat rise in her chest, anger, confusion, something else she refused to name. "I'm not something for you to figure out." "No," he said. "You're something I want to know." She stiffened. "Draven, whatever you think you want." The door suddenly swung open. One of his men appeared, breathless. "Sir, we have a situation." Draven raised his hand. "Later." "But." "Later." The man retreated instantly. Amira stared, bewildered. "You just dismissed your own people?" "For you," Draven said, holding her gaze, voice low. "Only for you." Before she could respond, he rose from his seat. "I'll return." "I never asked you to." He gave a quiet, almost dangerous smile. "You don't need to." He left. Amira's heart pounded, and for the first time, she didn't know if it was fear or something far more dangerous. The next morning, Amira found a small envelope slipped under her café door. No name. No stamp. No markings. Inside was a single note. "Come with me." Nothing more. No signature, but she knew exactly who sent it. She crumpled the note and tossed it aside. Absolutely not. But the city didn't care what she wanted. Harbourgate had a rhythm, and Draven Mirell controlled the drumbeat. And today the beat followed her. As she left the cafe, two men in black suits approached her. Not aggressively, just close enough to make her tense. "Miss Jo," one said. "Mr. Mirell requests your presence." She crossed her arms. "Tell Mr. Mirell to request things like a normal human. Email works. So does being ignored." The man didn't smile. "We're supposed to escort you." "Supposed to?" she echoed. "Meaning you have rules. Meaning if I walk away, you would make our jobs difficult." "Good," she snapped. "I hope it ruins your whole day." She turned and stormed down the street, refusing to look back. Her pulse thundered, but she didn't let fear dictate her steps. Yet she wasn't 3 blocks away before she realized those same men were still behind her, keeping distance, but not leaving. She spun around. "Are you kidding me? We're only ensuring your safety." "I don't need safety. That is Mr. Mirell's order." Her jaw clenched. "Well, I'm not following his orders." They didn't reply. They simply remained there like shadows with heartbeat. By noon, she found herself snapping at customers who didn't deserve it, slamming cupboards too hard, moving too fast. She burned her hand twice. She dropped a cup. She nearly cursed out a delivery boy. She was unraveling. And she hated that Draven was the reason. By sundown, her cafe was empty again. The chairs were upside down, the counters wiped clean, and the silence felt too heavy. She locked the door and walked home, shoulders stiff. Halfway to her apartment, a sleek black car rolled slowly beside her. Her teeth ground together. No. The back door opened. Draven sat inside, his gaze steady. Not demanding. Not triumphant. Just watching her with unsettling intensity. Get in, he said quietly. No, she fired back immediately. I'm not your captive. You're not, he said. But we need to talk. We talked yesterday. Not enough. And who decides that? You. Yes. She scoffed and started walking. The car followed. Draven sighed softly, an unexpected sound from a man carved from stone. Amira, he said through the open door, if you don't get in, my men will keep tailing you. All night. All week. She whipped around, anger boiling. Are you threatening me? No, he said calmly. I'm giving you a choice. She stared at him. He wasn't smirking. He wasn't playing. This was simply how he existed, everything on his terms, everything shaped by his will. Her fists tightened. You drive me insane. I know, he said. Against every instinct, she slid into the back seat and slammed the door. 5 minutes. That's all. Good, Draven murmured as the door clicked shut. I only need 4. The car pulled away smoothly. Amira's heart raced as the city lights blurred past. She sat as far from him as possible, pressed against the door, arms crossed like a shield. She refused to look at him. He didn't move closer. He didn't touch her. He simply studied her with that sharp, cold gaze that saw too much. You're angry, he said. Congratulations for noticing. You're scared. She snapped her head toward him. No, Draven. I'm furious. That's different. Fear and anger are cousins. And obsession and insanity are twins, she shot back. He actually exhaled a quiet chuckle, low, unexpected. You have a sharp tongue. You brought me in a car against my will, Draven. You got in, he pointed out. She glared. Because you cornered me. He leaned his head back against the leather seat, eyes closing briefly. I don't want to hurt you. Then leave me alone. At that, his eyes reopened, and something in his expression shifted, subtle, but unmistakable. I can't. His voice wasn't threatening. It wasn't cold. It was honest. Amira felt her breath catch. You walked into my world and challenged me, he said quietly. No one does that. No one looks at me the way you do. No one stands in front of me without trembling. I'm not a symbol of bravery, she muttered. I'm just tired. That's not what I see. Well, stop looking. I can't do that either. The car slowed as they reached a road that climbed toward the cliffs overlooking Harbourgate's ocean. Massive metal gates opened automatically. Beyond them stood a mansion of glass and steel, shining like a fortress built for a king. Amira's stomach dropped. Draven. No, take me home. We are home. This isn't my home, she snapped. I said 4 minutes. And it took that long to reach here, he said simply. The car stopped. His men opened the doors. Amira stepped out slowly, feeling the wind whip around her, salty and cold. She glared at Draven as he exited the car. You tricked me. Yes, he admitted without shame. But I didn't lie. What do you want from me? He walked toward her, stopping a few feet away. Not close enough to intimidate her. Close enough to be honest. To understand you, he said. To know why I can't stop thinking about you. To figure out why your voice lingers in my head longer than any threat I've made. That's not normal. I'm not normal. She stared at him, breathing uneven. You're dangerous. I'm aware. You destroy things. You ruin lives. You made my life hell. If I wanted to ruin your life, he murmured, you'd have nothing left. What I did was pressure. The test. And you passed. Her anger flared. This isn't an exam, Draven. I'm not here to impress you. No, he said. You're here because you intrigue me more than power, more than loyalty, more than fear. Her pulse skipped. You're here, he continued, stepping closer, because you sparked something in me I thought died long ago. She swallowed hard. Draven, this is insane. Yes, he whispered. It is. And if I walk away? I will let you, he said quietly. But I will still watch you. Not to control you. To protect you. Protect me from what? From me, he said softly. Amira froze. He reached into his coat pocket and pulled out a small, black metallic band. She stared at it, speechless. Not yet, he said gently. Not today. But soon. I will ask you something. She backed up, breath shaking. Why me? Because you're the first person who's ever told me no, Draven replied, voice low, and meant it. Amira's breath clouded in the cold air as she stared at the metallic band glinting in Draven's palm. Her heart pounded too loud, too fast. She wasn't sure if she was terrified or something far more dangerous. She took a shaky step back. Put that away. Whatever you think this is, it isn't happening. Draven didn't move. It isn't a demand. It feels like one. It's a promise. Her chest tightened. I don't want promises from you. I want my life back. My café back. My peace back. He looked at her with a strange softness, something she didn't expect to find in the eyes of Harbourgate's most feared syndicate leader. You'll have all of that, he said quietly. More. But not tonight. She shook her head, backing away toward the steps leading down the driveway. I shouldn't be here. You're right, he agreed. But neither of us can change what brought you here. What brought me here, she snapped, is you dragging me out of my routine like I'm some kind of fun distraction. You're not a distraction, Amira. He stepped closer, his voice low. You're the interruption I didn't know I needed. She scoffed. That's not romantic. That's disturbing. I'm not trying to be romantic. But because you're terrible at it. He actually smiled, barely, faintly, but it was the first real expression she had seen from him since they met. It made her throat tighten. Before she could argue again, the front door of the mansion swung open. A man with gray-streaked hair and a scar running down his face stepped out, bowing slightly. Sir, the council is waiting. Draven didn't look away from her. They'll wait longer. Sir. I said they'll wait. The man bowed again and disappeared into the mansion. Amira swallowed hard. What exactly are you? A crime lord? A king? A dictator? Draven tilted his head. Labels don't matter. They do to me. Very well, he said, his tone quiet but firm. I am the man people fear enough to obey without hesitation. And you're the only one who ever told me to get lost. Despite everything, a small, involuntary laugh escaped her. Maybe I should have charged you double for that bowl. He chuckled once, low and surprisingly warm. I would have paid. She blinked. Wait, seriously? You shattered it on purpose. To test your reaction. Not the bowl's durability. You're impossible. And you're irresistible. He let the words hang in the air. She froze, pulse skipping. Draven, stop. I don't lie, Amira. Then lie right now, she whispered. Tell me you don't feel anything. He looked at her like she had asked him to stop breathing. I can't. Her heart twisted painfully. Before she could respond, he stepped aside slightly, giving her a clear path back to the car. You can go, he said. I won't stop you. She hesitated. You're letting me walk away? Yes. His eyes held hers. But I won't pretend I want you to. She turned, walking back slowly down the long driveway. Each step felt heavier than the last. Draven didn't follow her, didn't call out, didn't try to pull her back. He simply watched. At the car door, she paused. The cold wind stung her cheeks, or maybe it was something else. She didn't dare look back. If she did, she wasn't sure what she'd do. The ride back to the city was silent, but her head was loud, too loud. Memories of his voice haunted her. The intensity in his gaze. The way he said her name like he owned it but didn't want to. By the time she reached her apartment, she felt drained. She tossed her coat onto the chair, sat on the edge of her bed, and pressed her palms to her eyes. Why does he have this effect on me? She whispered. There was no answer. Just the thud of her heartbeat. The next morning, she returned to Shoreline Ember and froze. Her front window was repaired. Perfectly. No cracks. No tape. Not even dust on the sill. She rushed inside. The shelves were stocked. Bread trays were full. Fresh vegetables filled the fridge. Bags of coffee beans, her favorite brand, lined the counter. Everything was replenished. Even things she hadn't ordered in months. She spun around sharply as the bell above the door jingled. A man she'd never seen before stepped inside. He wore a simple black jacket and carried a clipboard. "You must be Miss Jo," he said calmly. "I've been asked to deliver your invoices." "Invoices?" she repeated. "Yes. For the supplies." She bristled. "I didn't order any of this." "You didn't," he admitted. "Mr. Mirell did." Her jaw tightened. "Tell your boss I don't want his charity." "It's not charity," the man said. "He instructed me to inform you that these are repayments." "For what?" she snapped. The man opened the clipboard. In his words, "For the suffering I caused you. For the days you worried. For the nights you couldn't sleep. For the fear I shouldn't have let touch you. For the bowl." Amira blinked hard, stunned. "Are you serious?" The man nodded. "Mr. Mirell doesn't usually apologize." "He didn't. This is his version of one." She inhaled sharply, her anger mixing with confusion so thick it ached. "Take it back. All of it." "I can't," the man said. "He gave strict orders." "And if I refuse?" "Then it will remain here until you accept it." She exhaled shakily, rubbing her temples. "This is insane." The man nodded as if he agreed but couldn't say so. "If you need anything, contact me. I'm assigned to you now." "Assigned?" she echoed. "As what?" "Your resource. For the café." Amira took a long, deep breath. "Fine. Leave the invoices." He bowed slightly and exited. She stood in the silence, staring at the stocked shelves. She should have felt relief. She wanted to feel relief. But all she felt was a pull, an undeniable thread dragging her mind back to Draven. She hated it. She hated him. She hated how part of her didn't want to hate him. She was wiping down the counter when the cafe door opened again. Her heart jumped, but it wasn't him. It was Mina, her best friend, who ran to her and hugged her tight. "I was so scared," Mina said breathlessly. "You disappeared last night. I thought something happened." "I'm okay," Amira said softly. "Just a complicated night." Mina looked at the stocked shelves. "Oh, did you rob a truck?" "Not funny." Okay. Mina leaned on the counter. "So what's really going on? Why does it feel like you're at the center of a storm?" Amira hesitated. "Because I am." Mina frowned. "Draven?" Amira nodded slowly. Mina groaned. "Oh no. Oh no. He's obsessed with you. That's the problem." "No. The problem is you don't hate it." Amira's breath caught. She didn't respond. She couldn't. Because Mina was right. Every day, every hour, every minute since he'd walked into her life, Draven Mirell had taken up space in her mind she couldn't push out. But she still whispered, "I don't feel anything for him." Mina raised an eyebrow. "You're a terrible liar." Amira flinched. A loud knock suddenly rattled the front door, startling them both. Amira turned sharply. 3 of Draven's men stood outside. And Mina whispered, "Oh no, what now?" The door opened slowly, and the men stepped aside. Draven Mirell walked in. Draven's presence filled the cafe so completely that even the walls seemed to stiffen. The air tightened. Mina instinctively stepped back, gripping the counter as if bracing for an earthquake. But Amira didn't move. She refused to. Draven approached slowly, his gaze locked on her like she was the only person who existed. His men remained at the door, silent barriers between him and the outside world. He stopped only a few feet from her, close enough that she could see the shadows under his eyes, shadows that looked like nights without sleep. "Amira," he said softly, carefully, as though saying her name too loudly might break something fragile. She crossed her arms. "Why are you here?" "To see you." "You saw me yesterday. That was different." "No," she said firmly, "you're making it different." His jaw tightened, but he didn't look away. "You received the supplies. That wasn't a gift. It was pressure." "No," he murmured. "It was correction. You don't get to decide how to fix things you broke," she snapped. Draven inhaled slowly, controlling something simmering beneath the surface. I don't want to be your enemy. Then stop acting like one. For the first time since she met him, Draven looked conflicted. Torn. A man used to controlling entire sectors of the underworld struggling to control something far more dangerous. His emotions. He glanced at Mina, then nodded respectfully. Give us the room. Mina stiffened. Absolutely not. It's okay, Amira said quietly, not taking her eyes off him. Go to the back for now. But... Mina, Amira insisted. Please. Mina hesitated, then shot Draven a warning glare before slipping into the back room. Once they were alone, Amira stepped around the counter, facing him directly. So what do you want now? She asked. Another test? Another mind game? Another apology that isn't actually an apology. No, he said quietly. Something else. The intensity of his stare made her heartbeat stumble. She hated that he had that power. Hated that she noticed the way he inhaled her scent, the way his gaze warmed slightly when she stood close enough to touch. She hated how familiar he felt. Draven took a step forward. You walked away last night. You told me to. I didn't want you to. That's not my problem. It is, he said low and steady. Because you're the only thing I've wanted in a long time. Her breath caught. She forced herself not to step back. You don't know me. I know enough. His voice dropped. Enough to know I don't want to lose you. Lose me? She echoed. You don't own me, Draven. There's nothing to lose. His expression hardened. You say that, but I see something in your eyes when you look at me. She scoffed. You see what you want to see. No, he said. I see conflict. Fear. Curiosity. Anger. And something you refuse to admit. She pushed at his chest instinctively. Stop. He caught her wrist, not roughly, not possessively, but gently, holding her as if she were something precious he didn't trust himself to touch. I can't stop, he whispered. Not when walking away from you feels impossible. Her breath faltered. Let go. He released her immediately, hands falling to his sides like he'd dropped pieces of himself he tried too long to hold. Silence pressed between them. Amira swallowed. You're dangerous. So are you, he said. I'm not like you. You're stronger, he murmured. Braver. Wilder. Draven, she whispered, I don't want this. He stepped closer, voice trembling on the edges. Then why haven't you pushed me out of your life completely? Her jaw clenched. Why, he continued, do you talk to me with fire instead of fear? Why do you stand here when the whole city would run? Because I'm not them, she said. No, he whispered. You're the only one who refuses to bend. His closeness made her pulse jump. She forced herself to hold firm. Tell me what you want, she said. Clearly. Without games. He exhaled shakily. I want you beside me. Her body froze. He reached slowly into his coat pocket. Not a weapon. The black metallic band. Amira's breath left her in a sharp gasp. Draven. He dropped to one knee. Right there, on the café floor. Her café. His men watching silently from the doorway, the city roaring outside, her heart trembling inside her chest. Stop, she whispered harshly. Get up. No, he said. Not until you hear me. Draven. He lifted the ring slightly. I built my life on power. Fear. Control. And none of it matters anymore. She shook her head, eyes burning. This isn't fair. I don't want fairness, he murmured. I want you. Tears stung her eyes, one she refused to let fall. Draven. I can't. You can, he said softly. And I'll give up anything you ask. I'll tear down the parts of my world that hurt you. I'll protect you. I'll respect you. I'll make you my equal. Her lips parted, trembling. Equal. Yes, he whispered. I don't want a queen to stand behind me. I want a woman who stands beside me and tells me when I'm wrong. Who tells me no, and means it. Who makes me better even when I hate it. Her chest ached. Amira Jo, he said, voice breaking for the first time, be with me. She stared at him, unable to breathe. Time slowed. The cafe lights flickered softly. The world outside faded. Then she whispered, "I have conditions." Draven lifted his head, eyes burning with a hope so raw it hurt to look at. "Anything. You don't control my life," she said firmly. "Not my cafe. Not my choices. Not where I go." "I agree. You don't use your men to scare me. Or watch me. Or follow me." He nodded. "Done. You treat me with respect. Always. I swear it. And if I say no to anything, you listen." He placed the ring gently on his palm, offering it without pushing. "I will." She inhaled deeply, heart thundering. Then she reached out and touched the ring. Not taking it, but accepting that the world had changed. And they had changed it together. Draven stood slowly, eyes locked on hers. "Does this mean?" "It means," she whispered, breath shaking, "I'll try." Draven exhaled as if he'd been drowning for years and finally surfaced. He didn't kiss her. He didn't touch her. He just stepped close enough for their breaths to mix and said, "Then I'm yours." She felt her knees weaken. "And you're mine." He nodded once, slow, reverent. "Always." Mina peeked from the back room, jaw practically on the floor. "Oh my, are you serious?" Draven turned slightly. She said yes. "No, I didn't." Amira yelped reflexively. Draven looked back at her with a rare smile. "You will." She smacked his arm. "Don't ruin this moment." He laughed, actually laughed, and something in the cafe softened. For the first time in weeks, Amira felt her lungs fill with real, deep breath. She didn't know what tomorrow would bring. But she knew one thing. She wasn't alone anymore. And maybe, just maybe, she didn't want to be. Before the story closed fully, she looked at him and whispered, "Don't make me regret this." He replied, "Then stay by my side. And I'll make the whole city regret ever hurting you." Her heart fluttered. His hand reached out, not to take hers, but to offer it. She placed her fingers in his, steady and certain. The world shifted. And neither of them looked back. If you enjoyed this story, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe for more intense, emotional, heart-gripping stories that keep you watching till the end.